The vision for where it is not where it needs to be, honestly. There's still so much to learn. There's so many things that we have yet to experiment to understand its true impact, and not just how we communicate as human beings, but also how it's going to apply to communications, to marketing, to business. But over time we realized that we were actually changing how we communicate with one another. We were actually changing how we discovered information. And in turn, media in general, not just social media, but just media, started to realize that the socialization of information was very powerful, very profound, and that it had an opportunity to change to change how, not just how we're communicating now, right? Not how we're communicating tomorrow, but how we become part of the process of sharing media, of producing media, of making sure that information travels as quickly as possible, as far as possible. And in the future, it'll travel specifically to the right people, because that's what they're looking for, without having to have this floodgate of Twitter and Facebook and blog posts. That'll be very filtered for you.
Okay.
We have to fall out a little bit out of love with social media in order to fall back into love with it, right? I think we just kind of totally embraced it and came in, just started following everybody and talking and sharing and clicking, and that's not a bad thing. It's because we're passionate about it. It's a wonderful thing, but there's got to be a little element of human filtering applied to this. We're going to have to be more selective without worrying about hurting people's feelings that we're not following them back. You know, we have to make sure that, at least with the human filtering side, that we're curating information that's important to us, because we're busy. We have things that we need to accomplish. We just can't be social all day, right? We have to be social in a way that it makes us better as an individual, better as a professional. The thing about online relationships is that they become cemented, they become meaningful when we meet in real life, right? And so we should only focus on those relationships online, of where we're going to benefit from that engagement, from that interaction. So information overload is slowly going to start to become more focused, but it's going to take a little bit of time. Like I said, we first have to realize it's a problem. I don't think we'll see Web 3.0 ever happen.
Okay.
I think we'll see iteratives. In fact, the person who coined Web 2.0 is calling it this Web squared. So he believes that that's the next iteration of the web. And there's a wonderful essay that he's written about it, what the future of the web looks like. His name is Tim O'Reilly. He talks about the idea of not just filtering, but the Internet of Things, right? Which is where the fact that it's not just that we'll have the internet on these devices or an iPad or our notebook, but that we'll be marrying things like mobile, social, real-time on what we call the three screens. So you'll have a portable mobile device, you'll have a notebook computer, you'll have your television, and at some point there'll be something new. We'll see new screens on appliances, and everything will be interconnected. But eventually the semantic web, which was is it Web 3.0 or is it the semantic web? That is what's going to start to help information work for us instead of us work around information. I think it's only important for companies to develop social media strategies when it matters to them, right? Because for some companies it's too early, for some companies it's past due, and the only way to know that is by listening and doing research first in order to best answer this question. The problem is that a lot of companies who are experimenting with social media have not even thought about asking this question of themselves. They just went and created accounts and just started participating because that's how they thought they were supposed to do it. But I think 2010 is marked as the year where businesses are going to understand that social media has or doesn't have ROI for that specific circumstance. And so I believe that the better answer to that question is do the research, and you can answer that. That answer is going to be different for every company. The real question is, what could we contribute to these communities in a way that has meaning back to us, right? What is the community looking for that we could offer that could have measurable benefits back to us? Is it sales? Is it downloads? Is it registrations? Is it votes? Is it support? Is it leads? And if you can start to inject what it is that you want to accomplish before you design your campaign into the strategy, then you can design the initiatives around what it is you're going to need to measure, right? And so, but the biggest opportunity in social media, at least this is what I believe, is that you can actually cause action. You can be a catalyst. You can move people in a certain direction. So where do you want to move them, right? What do you want to change? What do you want to accomplish? And answering those questions allow you to set the foundation and framework for all of the. I mean, social media isn't reinventing how a business makes money, right? It's just complementing it. It's just allowing it. It's giving it new avenues to sort of connect with people, and whatever happens based on that interaction, based on the information shared, it can cause action, it can cause direction. And that's, to me, why we need to be looking at this on a case-by-case basis, right? And social media, to me, is less about the conversation. You always hear about the conversation with social media. It's about joining the conversation, participating in the conversation, forming relationships, being transparent, being authentic. These are all things that, to me, don't define social media. You could use those words for anything, and that's, to me, why it's very hollow. That, to me, isn't social media. To me, social media is the ability to connect with someone based on common interests, common passions, and to have something for both of us to walk away from it, right, with feeling that it was a valuable exchange. That, to me, is the potential and the promise of social media. But so for me, what social media really is just about the socialization of media and influence, and that's what's most powerful.